Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Hello, everybody. Ivan, hi, welcome, Ivan. Let's wait a little bit. James, welcome, James. I remember you from the last webinar, right? Am I right that you were present in November? Let's wait. Hi, Samir. Hi, Hans. Hi, Mateusz. Hi, Tanya. Yes, this is an interesting topic to explore. Yeah, we actually we are going to cover similar concepts, actually the same concepts that before, but this time we will have a longer Q&A session at the end. So we would be having more discussion at the end of this presentation. So I hope you can ask questions and get some nice answers. Hi, Mian. Hi, Mr. Papa Grigoriou. Where are you from, guys? Actually, can you write down? I'm streaming from Poland. We have late evening here. So can you just write down where are you actually right now? I am from Greece. I'm really excited when it comes to this topic for designing particular solutions in Angular and also securing it properly. So I hope that you will have about an hour of interesting content and later some discussion. Serbia, Bangladesh, Germany, Azerbaijan, whoa, USA, you are guys amazing. It's amazing to connect with each other the way those kinds of live streams allows us to do, because everybody can sit at their own office, home, and we can actually learn something together and do some meaningful discussions around interesting topics. Brazil, Mexico. Dzień dobry. Does it? Yes, James. Dzień dobry means good morning. If you wanna be specific. So, guys, we will wait about 3 minutes, maybe, still before we jump into the content. So the plan for today is to discuss what are the ideas standing behind designing a role-based system in Angular and REST API. But the concepts are going to be more general. We will see particular design choices. And also when it comes to API, we will use Node, but still REST API is REST API. So and in the end, I will show you a very severe vulnerability in web applications that I believe a lot of you might not be aware of, and also I will show you how to fix it. So stay tuned till the end of this, because it's going to be about an hour, and I promise you will at least something you would find useful for you in your work. Tunisia, USA, James Goodwin, welcome, John Goodwin. John, you are already probably in our community, right? Dzień dobry, James Beast. Great. Okay, guys. It's amazing that there are a lot of people. So I will be slowly preparing the slides so that we will go into our content. So just confirm that you can see the slides, please. At least the first slide. Yes, James Goodwin, great. Okay, what is the plan for today? We would like to discuss the case of a role-based application. So imagine that there is an application where there are multiple accounts, and every account can have multiple users with different roles, which ultimately would mean that they have different permissions in the application. And how to think about the domain model in this kind of system. I would be just checking in here because I have a tablet to see if everything works fine. As far I see, so far so good. So don't get surprised that I will be just from time to time throwing my eye on the left. So what are the vectors of authorization in this kind of system? Then we would think about designing a REST API for roles specifically. What is userAuth object? We will talk about router guards, HTTP interceptors, how to do silent auth with RxJS. We will see Express.js demo, middlewares and a demo of this application that we are talking about because we have small demo, and this clickjacking attack, which is very, very interesting but very severe attack, and I will show you how to fix. So if you stay till the end, I would give you some really interesting surprise. But for now, some people may not know me, so I would like to introduce myself. My name is Bartosz Pietrucha. I'm Angular Academy founder. I've been teaching Angular all around the world via workshops, online trainings, conference meetups. I've been speaking on the conference like Angular App, NG Colombia, JS Conf, worked at companies like Credit Suisse, UBS, F-Secure, and I'm really passionate about the growth of developers because we are living in amazing times, actually. Yeah, just a couple of pictures. I'm not showing this to brag. I'm just trying to build a little bit of authority in your eyes that this guy who is speaking maybe is worth listening to, and he might be having something useful to share. Also, I've been active under Angular Academy blog, DevTalk, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn. Some people gave some, let's say, heartwarming comments about my work, so I really appreciate it. You can check them on my LinkedIn profile. And also the people who were actually on my email list knew that I would like to share what I was doing in Credit Suisse for the last 2.5 years. And to me, it's personally a huge achievement because I was responsible for building a reusable Angular library that is actually used across the whole company of Credit Suisse around the world. And for example, directcreditsuisse.com, which is the online banking application for the richest people in this world, are using the application, and they are the components that are used across this application actually came from my own fingers. So this is kind of interesting, and I just wanted to tell you that I left this company at the end of December 2019 to do, and I will tell you at the end what is the new big project that I work on right now. Okay, that's enough. I hope that you got to know me a little better. We jump into our content. We will have now just the meat of this presentation. And just a short intro, what is the difference between authentication and authorization? Authentication is a process of proving someone's identity in the system. So for example, we can use password and login. We can use some biometrics like scanning the iris or fingerprint. It's just a way to authenticate, to provide the proof of identity. While authorization is having in mind this identity to provide access to given parts of the system, right? So these are two distinct terms. And what is the case of this kind of role-based application? Imagine that we have a system On the right side, you see, I will look at the comments. Everything seems fine. So we have Angular website, and it could have some backend behind, and then there are two users, and they both share the same account. For example, Mike, in our example, is an owner of this account, and there's Paul, who is just a reader. So they could probably have different permissions in the system, but they share the same account. And they can authenticate in the system, for example, with the user name or login and password, right? And the second, what we would usually want to do is to present different UI to those users, right? Because they would be performing different actions in our system. And those people would interact with our application, especially an Angular application, and then there would be a request or couple of requests which are authorized across our API system. I'm looking if we have any questions right now. Not so great. Let's continue. And what our Angular application would do in this case, it would show or hide particular parts of the UI. And also imagine the scenario when we have a part of the system in UI which is never going to be accessible by the given role. For example, admin page, if it's going to be a lazy loaded module or bundle, there's no point in even fetching this part from the system, from the backend. So we can actually prevent lazy loaded parts from being even fetched by the browser. And also, those front-end part would have to attach some session ID or token based on the method that is going to be implemented to in the cookie or the header to authorize the request across the internet to the API so that everything is secure. What could be an example? This is going to be our example application, the budget application that controls our expenses. So you see that in this example, there is an API call to get budgets, and then in headers, you can see that there is authorization bearer. This is here we can see JSON Web Token that allows the backend to determine if this request has to be rejected or it can be properly, let's say, executed. Again, we go deeper in our multi-user account system. How can we think about the domain model in this case? So imagine that we have our account, which would need some ID, maybe some string, and then we would have user with relation one-to-many, so that we can have multiple users attached to this account. They would have their own ID. They would have also account ID as the reference, their login, and their role. And based on that role, we will determine what they can do or not. And also the entities that are associated. So imagine there is an account and the user creates a post or comment or blog post. One of them is a owner of this account. He can create and write, and one of them in this account may be just maybe a moderator or a reader with a different role, but still in the same account. And this account can have different entities attached, right? So we are not attaching directly to the user, but to the account. So we have like a more flexible system in this case. And here's a question. If you build Node application or JavaScript backend application, and maybe in Express and front-end application, usually there's a problem. We write, for example, user class, entity class, in two different systems, front-end and backend. And whenever there is a change, we need to update this in both places. And here's the trick. Let's stop for a second and look at this slide. If I have Node application, and if I create models folder and place all my TypeScript classes, like in our case, we have account, budget, expense, period, tokens, whatever, and I want to use exact same physical classes in my Angular application. So what I can do is to create a tsconfig file where I would have paths, which would reference the same files in Node, so that this is creating an alias. And the cool part here is that when Angular is going to be built a final bundle, it would pull those files from Node during the build process. And Node is just a Node application that we can then deploy. So this is very interesting because then I can call import budget summary from models, and I will reference in the same physical place, the same files, and I don't have to maintain it in both places. So let me know in the comments, guys, if you have ever done this before, because I find it really useful trick. We have Hugo who came. Hi, Hugo. Welcome. I'm just looking at the comments. I have slightly small delay before I see your comments, guys. Yeah, let's go. Now, the next concept. What is a vector of authorization in this kind of system? Can you just, guys, before we go, say +1 or -1 if you knew about this trick to share, or maybe you have some questions or you don't understand how it works when it comes to sharing the same physical files between Node application and Angular application. It would be good to see that I'm not alone here. Yeah, this is quite interesting. Thank you, Hugo, for engaging, because I'm home alone, you know. It would be good to see that there are real people behind my monitor. So if you just say +1 if you like it, or maybe you don't like it, it would be more engaging, our meeting. Will it work in Firebird functions? To be honest, I don't know. Hey Bartosz, in my case, I haven't played with this yet. Cool. +++. Yeah, thank you guys for engaging. I'm really happy to see that somebody is, you know, behind the monitor. So we go further. What are the vectors of authorization in this kind of system? First of all, we have a precondition. We already authenticated a user. So we have a request and we know the identity, but there are some other high-level questions we need to answer on our backend, or maybe the whole system. First of all, if we want to authorize, as I said, we are authenticated. Now we are asking about authorization. So can we allow to perform some action? Does the entity belong to the user account, right? So we don't want to allow some user to delete some other person's comment, maybe, right? Or maybe we do. And what is the role? Is this an owner or the reader? Owner maybe can edit, reader can just read a given entity, let's say post in a system. Are there any other rules? So this I would call different vectors of authorization that we need to implement in our system. So does the user have the owner or reader role? Just a simple, let's say, algorithm. If a user with a role X requests to edit an entity, and if X equals owner, then HTTP okay, the backend says I'm fine, the request is authorized, else HTTP unauthorized, right? So we have like a simple, let's say, rule or let's say business requirement that we will implement. Does the entity belong to the user account? So if the user with ID A and account B requests the entity belonging to account, let's say account ID C, and we make a check. If B equals C, then HTTP okay, else HTTP unauthorized, right? So we want to check the ownership before we agree on the backend side to authorize this kind of request. Are there any other rules? So, for example, sharing entities between accounts. Imagine that the user wants request a entity belonging to another account, right? Like reading or liking a comment, which is actually not his comment, but he wants to create a like entity. So there may be different entities. Another idea. So guys, I believe this would be able to achieve the same as long as the entire model for the. I use .NET backend, so I'm not sure this is relevant. Yeah, probably. It's the beauty of doing isomorphic applications with Node in JavaScript or TypeScript and Angular in TypeScript. But we continue. Designing secure REST API for roles. So imagine that there are parts of our API that do not require. And by the way, we will be doing a similar thing with Angular router. Right now, we are talking about REST API, and there are parts of the application which does not require authorization, and they allow non-authorized requests like login and sign up. So it will be good to create a special prefix for them, like auth. But if we allow the user to go inside of the application, we can use a different prefix. We can call it a danger zone, because we have to pay special attention to every single API endpoint if we properly authorize these requests. So another idea, userAuth object, how we achieve the idea of displaying different parts of the UI on the front end and creating proper, let's say, buttons or elements of the UI. So if we have an example, Paul, who is the reader, he logged into the system, he receives the userAuth object or auth token, depending on the mechanisms that we implement. And the front end can store this object with, okay, user ID, role, reader. And then based on that, we can render or not render parts of the application which are not or are dedicated for a role reader. And also here, while we log in, depending on the authorization mechanism, server would start a session or generate a stateless token. Usually, it is popular to use JSON web tokens. And how do we want to protect route from unauthorized viewing? With router guards. So imagine that we have this app also on the REST API part. We have similar paths that we want to secure on our front-end part, right? So imagine we have app entity, and this has to be secured, and we can use can activate or can load router guard, and can load would prevent from loading those bundle if it's a lazy loading part. But here's the trick. We have to always remember that front-end can be compromised by downloading JS files and reading all the contents. So if you want to present some sensitive data in the front-end, it's not enough to use router guard. You have to hide it behind the secure API. And for example, imagine that you want to have drop-down data hidden from reading, from unauthorized viewing. You cannot put it in the template, because anybody can read those bundles, debug it in the and it's not secure enough. You have to hide it behind the dynamic API, which would be during the initialization of the application could fill the dropdown, right? Yeah, because for example, select options can be easily read even if you use router guards. Let's see how we achieve this in the code in Angular. So we have this secure part with app prefix, app, and then we have let's say two paths. One path is login. We have auth to login component, and then we have path app, and we have app guard, not auth guard, but app guard, which has different policy implemented, which prevents our layout component. So the whole layout of the application that is visible only after login. Let's look at the slide. Yeah. Yeah, and then we have some, other parts like dashboard, expenses. So they are the children of app path, layout component, and we can secure them with router guard on the top level. How does this kind of auth guard works? We just need to implement can activate, and then here you see that we have some auth service that checks if we are logged in. And here is also something that I would like to stress out. The question if we are logged in is just a simple Boolean flag in the front end, right? You just store some value somewhere in the application, maybe in some service. Is the user logged in or not? True or false? Because as I said, front end is just a presentation. It is not like really secure environment. So we can have just a Boolean value true or false. And then if the user is logged in, we can navigate him to the proper place. Oh, sorry. In this case, we are checking the login component. So if he is already logged in, we wait a second. If he's already logged in, we will redirect him to some kind of initial path. And if not, we just answer, sorry, you cannot access this part. And the UpGuard, the condition is different. Actually, it's opposite. If he's not logged in, redirect him back to login page. If he's logged in, just answer, okay, we are good to go. This part of application that this guard is protecting is accessible based on the fact that the user is logged in. HTTP interceptor. So we have covered a lot of different concepts, like building blocks conceptually of designing such a system. And the other question is, okay, so we logged in, we authorized the user to view some particular parts. Now we need to send authorized requests with session cookies or some tokens. We have usually some HTTP services in Angular, but it would be weird if we add every time the logic to every single HTTP service. So we can use HTTP interceptor, which would actually go through, it would stand, let's say, at the end of our application, and every outgoing request is going to be intercepted. And for example, you can see that if auth service, there is JSON Web Token available, we do add token. And add token is just doing request.clone set headers authorization bearer token, right? So now if we have the token in the application, we attach it to outgoing request. And here's the really interesting part. I want you to really focus for a while. Because this is the example of the workflow that I described on Angular Academy blog under JSON Angular -JWT, and here we are doing a refreshing of the token. So our JSON Web Token got invalidated after some time frame, because it was, for example, generated to be valid only for 10 minutes. And after 10 minutes, what we need to do, we need to come with some idea of refreshing, but we don't want to, let's say, log out the user and interrupt his interaction with the UI. So under the hood, if look what happens here. If we have in this interceptor error, we have pipe catch error. I will slow down for a second. This interceptor has pipe catch error. And if we see that this is 401, which means unauthorized, we would do try to refresh. That's it. Just give me thumbs up if you understand what I mean. So the token got invalidated. User tries to execute some query, and then there is a request going back saying 401 unauthorized. Just give me thumbs up if it's enough this to explain. And then we execute try to refresh. Okay, James says yes. So now what happens, our try to refresh would take, in this case, the refresh token, and it would, we have a flag, is refreshing. If this is a first request, because the idea is to queue those requests which were generated by the user, first try to get the new token, and if succeeds, continue with the, let's say, queued user queries. So first of all, if this is the first time the user clicks, we have this is refreshing set to false. Then we set it to true, and then we have behavior subject that we populate with null value, and then we try to call refresh token, which is the under the hood the query to get the new token, and we do switch map, and then upon the succeeding of this we place this token in the refresh token subject. And this would, while this refreshing is blocking those elements that are actually blocked by the this refresh token subject, because this is the second part. Look what happens in the second part. If we started refreshing, then we say, okay, this is this refresh token subject, and we filter everything when this refresh token subject is different than null, because only when we receive something inside of this token, inside of this subject here, with calling refresh token subject next, we would, let's say, release this second part that would allow those queued requests to continue, because it's like a green light. Okay, you had to wait until this subject contains the new token. Now we have the new token. You can continue and then add this token and continue with this query. I know this is really tricky. If you want to learn more about this, I encourage you to open the blog post. But this is really nice trick to actually first execute some upfront, queue something to wait until this process finishes, and then release this lock and continue this execution. So it's like RxJS magic, because we wouldn't be able to do this easily without those mechanisms that are baked in RxJS. RxJS is super powerful. I also do advanced RxJS trainings with higher order observables, error handling, and multicasting, and it's super powerful if you understand it correctly. You could also run that refresh 5 minutes before the token expires. Yes, you can schedule it, of course. But here we do this in a smart way, right? We wait until the user really wants to do this, right? We wait until the user really wants to do this query. Next. Okay, guys, we have this interceptor. Now let's go to our backend. We will think about Express.js middlewares. And again, we want to introduce this kind of danger zone. Everything after this app has to be authorized. So Express middleware is very similar concept to Angular interceptor. We have our routes, for example, expenses ID, and we have some checks. Check if expense belongs to an account, and we protect these parts of our application with those kinds of middlewares. And what this kind of middleware do? This does, it would go to our repository, get our expense, it will compare those account ID, and then if those accounts ID matches, we will say, okay, you can execute this query. But if not, for 01, sorry, unauthorized, right? So we can encapsulate this kind of checks in middlewares and attach them to our endpoints. Whoa, why don't we see the demo? I can run the application with those features implemented and can show you on the real application how this works. How about that? Give some thumbs up, and I will, in the meantime, prepare the application. Sing a song while you wait. To be honest, I'm not good at singing. Oh, whoa. Okay, let me know, guys, in the comments if you see I think you can see. So, okay, let's log in as we'll restart the server. Refresh the page. Okay, let's log in the first user, and you see there are some requests, and there also was already some
User, and you see there are some
demo effect. My soundbar actually played it. Okay, what I want to show you, that this application has implemented those guards on the front-end side and on the back-end side, and how it works in practice. So first of all, we have authorization bearer here, which is our JSON Web Token that was here to authorize the request, and everything was fine. We get our budget. We want to delete some kind of some entity, and let's see. You see that there is API expenses, and this too is an ID. What is important that this tool is an ID of expense that belongs to the logged user, right? That's why we succeeded. So even if somebody hacked this front end and would try to delete, for example, an expense with ID 3, it would not happen because our backend is properly secured. To prove that, I would try to simulate this kind of query with Postman. So I take this delete query. I will copy this query with copy as curl bash, and I open Postman. This is my Postman, and I import this from here. I place it here, and I have this query. And here I would manually change the ID to number 3. And number 3 is an entity that does not belong to this account. Look at the headers. We have our authorization bearer, but so we can say this request is to be executed, but when we send, you are not authorized to perform this operation, 401 unauthorized, because there was an internal check on the backend that compared, this token belongs to the user with the account that has some kind of expenses. And the user tried to delete account with the expense with ID 3, and this expense does not belong to this account. So I completely ignored frontend. I executed under the hood the query with the Postman with authorized bearer token, but still backend is properly secured because the vector of authorization was properly implemented. I will go back to here to the StreamYard. You can see Postman. We cannot see Postman. Okay, I'm sorry, Oscar. Let me replay this. I will change the way it is shared. Share the screen. Your entire screen. Now I share the entire screen. So I believe that now you see Postman. I'm looking here on my tablet right now, so I would see. Yes. So what I tried to do, I changed the ID here. Let's now try to remove number 4. Number 4 expense is still an entity that does not belong to the logged user. We have authorization bearer here. So indeed, the user is authorized, and we click send. And what you see here is you are not authorized to perform this operation because expense with ID 4 does not belong to the user. Does not belong to the account of the user who is logged in and tries to execute this query. Now I see that you must have seen a Postman because I see it on my tablet. So I go back to StreamYard. Great. Thanks, Oscar, for your comment, because I didn't realize you might not see it. Let's go back to presentation. Here, blah, blah, blah. Wow. I want to show you something more maybe interesting here now. Okay. How about the security? because there are other security risks that we need to care about when it comes to implementing this kind of applications. And I want to share with you something that is not well known, which is called clickjacking. And stay with me. Imagine that your application is you built second Amazon, right? You build Amazon, and then you have the pay button. You can purchase some. You have one-click checkout, and you are logged in. Your credit card is in the system, and you can buy. You can buy stuff if you are logged in. And what a hacker can do is try to force you in some socio-technical way to open some evil website. And then there will be some fancy movie to click, like maybe some meme or whatever else. And then what he does, he embeds in an iframe your application. He makes it invisible. He places the pay button exactly in the place of the play button. And with the CSS, it is invisible. And you are on this evil website, and you click this play button, and but actually you are clicking the pay button, and your money is going away because this invisible iframe actually was what you clicked. This is really scary that this kind of attacks are possible. Let me know in the comments if you have heard about this attack. I'm looking at the comments. There are different kinds of clickjacking, but this is the very, let's say, easy one to explain. But there are many different ways of this kind of attacks. I'm waiting for your comments if you have heard about clickjacking, guys. Just tell me. Maybe somebody is aware of it, and I'm super happy. I would be super happy if your application is secure from this kind of attacks. Or maybe you don't understand. Maybe we need some kind of explanation. But I believe this image presents what can happen if I never heard of that. Ha! Yes, no, never heard of that. Okay. Let's say John says, I never heard of it. Christopher, Tanya, yes. Damn, missed it for 2 minutes. You would need to see the Maciej Orman actually is after our first modules in the course, which I will tell you later, and he already knows it because he watched our lectures, but I will tell you. Hi from Wrocław, Adam, welcome. So how we can prevent from this kind of attack? This content security policy for the win. If we send proper headers from the backend saying content security policy, frame ancestors, none, this would tell the browser our website is never, ever, let's say, allowed to be rendered in the frame. As simple as that. Then if you say frame ancestors, nobody ever can, no origin can ever embed me. And then if this situation happens, the browser would know, oh, I cannot embed this website in the iframe. But also you can say that there are particular origins that are saved or trusted, safe or trusted. And you can say, I can embed at self origin or different origin, saying, okay, these are the websites that we trust, right? But if an evil website like superawesomenews.com would try to embed your website, the browser would know, no, I have content security policy. And content security policy is super, super important from perspective of Angular and front-end developers, which allows us to prevent many different attacks. So now, my question is, I have never heard about clickjacking, but got deep. But now get protected from. I have never heard about clickjacking, but bit nothing deep. Neither how to get protected from this attack. Yes, you can just use this header in content security policy, and then, as I explained, you are one level ahead of attackers or hackers who would try to, hack your website. We are going to be smarter than hackers, I promise you. let's continue. Different types of cross-site scripting, cross-site request forgery, vulnerable JSON web tokens, broken access control, rainbow tables. I can count these different attacks that we are not even aware. Were you aware of clickjacking? No. Are you aware of different kinds of attacks? No. What about other security vulnerabilities? Because if I know that I don't know, it's best. But if I don't know, here's the trick. If I don't know that I don't know, I'm doomed. So, guys, we are almost an hour, and we are ready to. I missed the beginning. Yes, everybody who registered is going to receive an email with the recording. No worries. And I want to ask you a question. We have spent 45 minutes together. Tell me if you have learned something new. Or maybe you got scared about content security policy vulnerability of different kind of, clickjacking. Just tell me what, because we are about to wrap up our meeting. We spent 45 minutes. I hope that you learn. Give me some thumbs up, or because maybe we have some more things to share, because we have not even scratched the surface. What do you think, guys? I will not sing a song while waiting because I have a couple of seconds delay. Mohammed, thanks. Let me see. James, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be singing. I'm waiting for your comments to know if, yeah, Swamir, thanks. And do you want more? John said, I learned many new things, but it was so fast. Yes, because it's not it's not possible to cover so many topics in so little time. Because I know that all you are busy. You are all busy. You have your job, family, and this is hard to follow, right? I feel like I need to keep taking your classes because there are many things to learn. Never heard of rainbow tables. There are many things you have never heard of. And guys, I want to tell you that today I want to announce some project that I have been working for a long time ago. And this is the reason I gave up my awesome, amazing job at Credit Suisse to create Angular Enterprise Security Academy, which is a 10-week intensive program to learn everything that you need as a web developer about web security and implement the role-based enterprise-grade authorization in Angular or Node and any other language building REST API. And this is something really exciting for me because we already have students who joined this program and are already taking classes, because we started just this week, this 10-week program. And what is this? This is a missing element in web development space, because it is 10 weeks effective learning program in the form of recorded videos that would take you about hour, maybe 2 hours a week, because I know you are busy. I know it's hard to find time for learning. So this is very squeezed, curated knowledge designed to make you confident about web security and provides important theory and coding practice. And most importantly, you will not get stuck because you have my full support over this program, and you have collaboration, integration with other students in the special closed Slack channel. This program is 100% online. Lessons are in the form on-demand videos. Every week, you receive new portion of videos that you consume in your own pace. We started actually yesterday. Yes, I'm serious. We have a lot of students in our Slack channel, in our teaching platform. You receive homeworks, and every Thursday, if you got stuck, you can join our office hours with face-to-face camera, with some, I don't know, we will probably go with Zoom to look at your code, answer your questions if you got stuck, right? Because I want really you to learn, because we need to take care about web security. And you will be also working with other students. This is amazing experience. You can ask, because it's funny, because we have some students who already joined in this course on our chat. And everything will happen in extremely friendly, supportive, and practical fashion. No BS, I promise. And just one side note, It's not just the knowledge, because knowledge is free, online, in scattered, distributed, fuzzy, ambiguous forms. It's about the knowledge that is curated, systematized, and delivered in interesting, easily digestible way. You need a system, an amazing supporting community, so that you will never feel alone during the program in your challenges. The program is going to teach you web security fundamentals, and understanding of this is going to be something you will receive. Security vulnerabilities and prevention methods, hands-on experience on role-based authorization, and practical experience of securing an Angular application and backend API. This is our agenda for each module, which is dedicated for each week. We have module 1, module 2, where we focus on web security model. Some of the students already watched module 2. In the future, I believe in March, probably if I look at the calendar, at the beginning of March, we are going to release module 3 with client-side security boundaries, server-side security, and so on. Then we'll talk about OWASP, cross-site scripting, cross-site request forgery, JSON Web Token hacking. Then, since module 5, we will be slowly going into implementation of our application, how to securing Angular parts, securing API, core features implementation, login, sync up, router guards, HttpInterceptors, client security, XRSS prevention, userAuth object, HTTP only, secure cookies, API security implementation, generating tokens, generating cookies, roles and account management, managing active sessions. There's a lot to cover, and there's a bonus module because if you build application that stores personal user information like email, because even email, it's weird, right? Email is considered to be personal information, and if you store and have this kind of data in your system, you have to obey to some legal, let's say, constraints. So in the module 10, we will take a look what are the legal, let's say, aspects of building this kind of application. We have GDPR obligation. I will tell you, actually, this is not going to be delivered by me. I am cooperating with this module with a lawyer who is the man of the job. He is going to give you a lesson when it comes to this legal guidance. So I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to pretend I am. There is going to be a special lawyer who is going to teach us this stuff. And what is included in the program? 10-week learning program, which is worth, in my opinion, at least $800, 10 live coaching sessions, GDPR and legal guidance, the access to the mastermind group on Slack, all the recordings for the coaching sessions, list of authorization libraries if you build in Java, .NET. I will curate libraries for your convenience so that you can implement those solutions in your own technology stack. This is the most important part, lifetime access with all future updates. Because in the future, if we create next edition, you will not pay anything. Only the new students who join will have to pay the higher price, but you receive lifetime access with all future updates. And here, our first week of learning is now, and we meet this Thursday, and our first meeting with all the students. And this is what is worth. But of course, I'm not going to offer you this in this price. And my question is, what should be the price? You can go for a bootcamp, which you pay, for example, at least $100. You can hire a consultant in your company, which is also very expensive. You have to pay for the travel flight if you want to go for a bootcamp. So my proposition is to go down with the price as low as possible to guys give you really, really important knowledge. I will look at the Maciej Orman. I recommend. Maciej Orman is actually in our group, a student. He watched, I don't know, he probably watched the videos, and he says he recommends this guy and this course. I'm happy. I know that we have also John and Hugo who are in our class, so maybe they can say if they already watched the videos, because we just started. It's just the start. And okay, let's go further with the price. Maybe this one. No, I want to give you guys better price. Maybe this one. this is really, really like a steal of a deal for this price. And webinar participants can join the class, this whole academy, using the code webinar25. This is the target price. You can go as low as 25% off with this price, which actually ends up $29 a week of learning. How much do you spend on beer or whatever? And we are going to be together, but the registration is only open until 26th because handling registration, sales, marketing is so overwhelming for me. I need to close the registration and then I need to focus on the group to work with the students. So I will not be able to handle this marketing stuff. My head is actually exploding when I need to, market stuff. So we close the sales, we close the registration in a couple of days. You can join with this amount. How much time do you spend Googling? Because if you, for example, earn $60 an hour, it's like 30 minutes of your work. How much do you spend time Googling? You can just visit our Slack or join our live session and we can find a solution to your problems. This is amazing. I'm really happy. That's why I left Credit Suisse, to do this for you guys. We have a group of students who are already inside of the program. And you have two choices. You can do nothing. We are good. I'm super happy that I can learn you something during this webinar. You don't have to risk, or you can take an action and learn a lot and risk, but you don't risk anything because I really want to help you. And you have 30-day money-back guarantee, no question asked. If you, after 30 days, since tomorrow actually, because we started the program yesterday. I'm sorry, since yesterday. We started this program yesterday. Students are already watching the videos, and since yesterday, or maybe since the day you enroll, if you enroll today, since today I give you 30-day money back guarantee. Just, Bartosz, I didn't like the program, give me my money back. Sure, we are good to go. And one bonus, a lot of people has been asking me about this article, Angular Architecture Best Practices, which actually end up #1 article on Google when you Google for Angular Architecture Best Practices. And we will design our application according to those principles in this article. So it's super, super amazing. Next thing is that we are planning to add new modules in the future editions of this academy, like single sign-on, auth, OpenID, and more. And for sure, what I know, the price will rise. But not for you if you join this edition, because, as I said, you get the lifetime access. Okay, I'm looking at the chat. And the first person who buys today after the webinar receives a free online security audit and review of his or her application personally with me. I will work with you. Only first person who buys today receives a free online security audit and review of his or her application, which is also a super interesting to have. To recap, this is all what you will receive with this price and this. I would just start looking at this the questions. We are on time. It took about an hour. Now, after this hour, I'm all yours. We can have Q&A session. You can ask me about security vulnerabilities, things from this content, maybe the way we will work together with the students. I will right now grab my phone, look at the chat, and we will have Q&A session, guys. Or if you are okay, I just would display some banner. If you use this, do you have questions? Because right now, after this hour, we have a Q&A session. Learned several new things. It would be great if I can get the demo. First of all, I will send you the replay of this. But now we have our after the presentation, our has passed. And if you have any questions, is the perfect time. You can shoot me an email also, or join our public Slack, or now take the time to ask questions. Maciej, Tania, Hugo, John, do you have questions? James, do you have any question? what are your general thoughts on storing the do you mean JSON Web Token, right, in session storage, or in I mean, the problem is the tokens is that, yes, some people are afraid of storing it, but I mean, there is, first of all, what is the problem in storing the token? Some people may say, okay, it can be stolen, but I mean, if you want, you can store it only in memory, and you would need to find a way of this feature called keep me signed in, right? Keep me logged in. But I found out that if you even store it, not even in session storage, even if in local storage, and if you protect from cross-site scripting with proper content security policy, with not screwing up with Angular sanitization, which by default works in Angular to prevent from cross-site scripting, it's 99%, like 99.9% of let's say covering the security. You would need to really screw up a lot if you have proper content security policy and you don't screw up Angular sanitization. You are mostly secure from cross-site scripting, and you can even store it in local storage. But if you are afraid of cross-site scripting, store it in memory, right? Because in memory, who cares, right? Carlos, I have one question. During the course, are we building a real-world project? Yes, we are going to build a project to manage expenses, like we saw in the demo. So we will have like the application which actually have some budgets, expenses. There will be different users, different roles. We will be able to manage different things in this application. So in my opinion, it's a really real life application during the course. Maybe what's rainbow tables? Okay, Hugo, rainbow table. So if you want to execute an attack on, for example, JSON Web Token, and you would like to execute brutal force attack, right? So you want to brute force the secret. If your secret is weak, you are screwed. Actually, number one rule with working with JSON Web Tokens is to have very, very, very strong secret to generate the tokens. But if somebody attempts to execute brutal force attack, it takes some time to calculate the hash. Rainbow tables are pre-calculated list of hashes, and they are compared like much faster because somebody brutal forced generated many different passwords in some database and generated the hash for different secrets. So when somebody tries to guess with the brutal force manner a given secret, the calculation is already there because it was pre-calculated what is the hash of the given secret, so that he just compares it. So it's like a faster way to execute a brutal force attack with pre-computed values. Does it make sense? Mr. Hugo, we use .NET in the background. What does it mean? Of course, will work. As I told you, at least half of the... Yes, so if you look at the agenda, the first modules are like technology agnostic. We focus on the web security model, we focus on different vulnerabilities and so on. And then we built Angular application, and then we built Node application. So of course, you would not use those implementation details from Node, but you will see the concepts, right? That Hugo said, got it. We got you. So you would see some concepts while designing this kind of REST API, right? But Angular part is for you. Theory part is for you. So I will not go with implementation details in .NET, right? You would need to somehow project those concepts that we would use in Node to your .NET. But in general, most of the course is going to be, I believe, is going to be suitable for you. As Hugo say, probably makes total sense. So web security model, security vulnerabilities, prevention methods, GDPR part, Angular part, and some part is in Node, right? We will be designing REST API. So there are going to be some design decisions, some concepts, but implementation details in this course are going to be in Node. But from Angular perspective, it's perfect choice to know how to work on frontend with those kinds of concepts. In your case, James, I believe this answers your question. What we have, Bartosz. Are these content security policies maximum level of protection against attackers? Are there exist any level of superior protection? Wow, there is a lot of things to cover. To be honest, I cannot answer this question because we don't have enough time. But there are a lot of things you can do actually to. You are not able to be 100% sure that there is no security vulnerability in your system, right? Because there are, just look on the OWASP top 10. This is the very nice list of potential security vulnerabilities. And one of the OWASP top 10 says that using components with known vulnerabilities. So for example, you are using Node and Express with, I've just come up with the version 5. How do you know that Express and Node in version 5 does not have some hidden vulnerability? You don't know. You have to always execute some security audits. We will also talk about this in the course, how you can stay on the top when it comes to managing your dependencies. Because if you use some third-party components like Angular, Node, even .NET, some other libraries, how do you know if your library, your let's say your stack is not composed of some component which has some bug injected? You are never sure. So what we do, we want to maximize the level of security, but we will never ever achieve 100% security of our application, but we can try to make it as secure as possible to actually some extent. I hope that this makes sense to you, because you can always have at some level of your stack some vulnerability, but we have to be aware of a lot of things that sometimes we are not aware, so that we can apply some strategies, some methods to mitigate the risks and raise our level of security to the maximum possible at the given time level, so that our application would be considered in some way or another secure. Does it make sense, Mr. Carlos? Guys, do you have any other questions? I'm here for you. You can also join Slack. You can write me an email. I think that the email is here. Yeah. I will send the replay of this webinar to you guys, so don't worry. But now, I will look for other questions. Tanya, Mr. No, sorry, Mrs. or Miss, Mrs., Miss or Mrs., Miss or Mrs. Tanya. Do you have questions, maybe new comments? Last questions. Did the course start yesterday? Yes. Who now I can reveal. Now I can reveal that Hugo, Maciej, some other people are already in the course. So this is not a surprise that we are open for business for a couple of days. Mr. Hugo, you probably watched some first modules. Can you share with us what are your because guys, this program was pre-sold back in the end of November last week. We had a bunch of students that enrolled at the special lower price, but they bought something which was not ready. Now we are ready, and those people are with us in the group. Some like Hugo joined us in the academy. As far as I remember, it was in November when there was no course, there was no videos, and those people took a chance to join us in this pre-sale. And right now we are ready to go. We started yesterday, so I would like to invite all of you because we have really nice group of people who are in this program. And I'm doing okay. Hugo, Suyan, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Suyan. Can you say what are your feelings after the first modules? Because I hope that you watched at least a couple of videos already. Can you tell us? Oh, maybe you are already gone. I don't know if you are still online. Maybe you guys already left. So who is joining? Who is joining us? Because as I said, we are going to meet this week. We are going to meet this. Where is this? Yeah, we are going to meet this week. An academy officially started. Any other more questions, guys? Maybe you would like to know if the course is for you. Just tell me. Yes, I think it's presented well, and sadly, I'm still going through. This is one of our students going through it, so I do not have much to add for now. I am working on the homework. Yeah, I'm super happy. I'm finishing module 2 tonight as well. I'm super pumped that you are with us because this is a really amazing experience for the next 10 weeks. Whoa. Any other questions? James, Carlos, Tanya? Whoa, I can definitely the course. I have watched the first couple of modules, and there are several bits of information that are important and extend any previous knowledge. The devil is in the details. Thank you, Hugo, for the kind words. I'm happy that I can help you, but we just started, and it's going to be, whoa, actually mind blown. Carlos, I might have missed. Oh, I'm sorry, I have my... Oh, Hugo. Yes, I know that Hugo is really a senior developer because we chat on our Slack, and I can feel that he has a lot of experience as a developer. And look what he says. I would recommend it even for experienced people. I am sure there is always value on small things that will contribute to a larger pool of knowledge. Thank you. So even if you are a senior, experienced developer, you may find value in this course. Carlos, let me look. Can we learn some monitoring technique to spot some possible vulnerability? In this regard, can we learn some monitoring technique to spot some possible vulnerabilities in our app during the course? Yes, of course. I mean, for example, if you open the course, if you open the course website, actually, if you open the course website and you go to preview lessons, the second lesson presents a very interesting feature of content security policy that is for reporting the security violations. So if you apply content security policy and you apply the reporting features of content security policy, you would see what benefits it brings you. So just I encourage you to check out the preview lesson on the website course. There is a section with preview lessons, and then check out the lesson number 2. By the way, I didn't pay Hugo to tell this. He's just a student. He paid money to join this student, but he gave it a shot in our pre-sale. Okay, I joined. Boom. Okay, please see my question above. What version of Angular is used for the Angular 9? Quite exciting, Bartosz. Thank you for sharing this knowledge in the world. Guys, okay, let me put it this way. This is the deal. First of all, we close in a couple of days. Second, the next editions are going to be more expensive. Why? Because I want to extend this course with new modules. I'm really passionate about building this. This is the reason I left my corporate job, guys, to do this stuff for you. And I want to build this super amazing course. I want to add new modules. I want to add new stuff. And that's the reason this course is going to get more expensive in the future. So now is the time. Now is the time. Thanks, sign it up 10 minutes ago. Yeah, we have people signing up. Let me look. Oh, Ian, you were the first. You won the security audit of your app. We are going to meet online and talk about your application. I'm super happy to have you. Who is joining? Who is the next? And guys, right now you are writing comments, But every single week, we are going to have such a session, and you are going to be able to turn your camera, turn your microphone, and we are going to work together every single week throughout the whole program. I would invite you to a session to meet with all students. Guys, so we are slowly wrapping this up. I'm really happy that you came here. Even if you don't join the course, I hope that you have learned something, because I really care about this. I put a lot of energy to create this course, and I believe it's really going to be amazing. And I see you soon, guys, on board. Just shoot me an email if you have additional questions. Oh, one more additional thing. If you want to get some refund from your employer, I have a special PDF that you can, let's say, sell on your employer. So just I can provide you with this PDF that you can, let's say, send to your company, so that they could actually invest money into your development. So I hope that it also is helpful for you. And okay, guys, thank you for joining. I'm going to disconnect. There are some people who already joined during this webinar. We have still a couple of days to enroll. But if you, good night from Netherlands. Guys, join today, and we already would meet. Today we have Tuesday. The course started yesterday. Tomorrow is Wednesday. And after that, we have our first live meeting with all the students. So don't wait, join. It's not going to be cheaper than now. So I welcome you on this journey, and thank you for being here. Bye. Just, yeah, you see the, okay, guys, bye.